And in one of the key lines in your story about this, Olivia, you talk about how one lawyer who's going to be representing the federal cases says, all told, this is a massive legal siege on the social media industry. Why is it all coming in this wave?
I mean, we have been seeing these lawsuits filed in state and federal court over a number of years now. This all started back in 2022 after Frances Haugen kind of blew the whistle on Facebook, releasing a trove of documents about how the social media giant was kind of impacting youth mental health. Following that, we saw plaintiffs' attorneys really focus in on that and start to file lawsuits against these companies, accusing them of harming children. And over the course of 3 years, all of those lawsuits, well, the majority of them now have been consolidated into 2 different litigation tracks. In state court and in federal court, we're going to see these cases come to the courtrooms next year, and it's going to be, as he mentioned in the story, a massive legal siege on the social media industry. We're expecting to see a number of trials next year and possibly thousands of plaintiffs waiting in the wings once those trials close.
Olivia, a part of the reason that this litigation has been pending for quite a long time is that the social media companies have had this liability shield, right, that has protected them in some sense from user harm litigation. Explain that shield and why it's now not preventing these pieces of litigation moving forward.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the Communications Decency Act, this is a federal law that has long protected social media platforms and really any internet platform from facing user harm lawsuits. What that law does is it provides an immunity shield or a blanket that says you cannot file a lawsuit against these companies for the content that exists on their sites. What these cases are trying to do is sidestep that immunity blanket by saying this is not about the content that users are posting to Facebook, to Instagram, Snapchat or TikTok. This is about the design of the platforms, that these companies intentionally designed their platforms to try and addict young users and resulting in many harms to kids, from mental health harms like depression, anxiety, all the way through to self-harm and suicidal issues.
Olivia, often the markets ignore potential legal threats for big tech companies. And it has been notable that actually a lot of companies have been trying to update the protections for children in particular. I think of Instagram just last week. How have they set themselves up to really tackle this in a forward-going way?
Yeah, as these cases have been piling up in the courtrooms, we've seen almost every one of the defendants start to update their policies to really try and get better, stronger safeguards for kids. And you saw that recently with what Meta announced on Instagram. And that's certainly true. But at the same time, this litigation is not going away. These allegations stand in court. And I think what's remarkable about the kind of position that we're in right now is that as of next year, we're going to see the alleged victims of social media into the courtroom for the first time in the US. So these cases are going to be tried. Juries are going to hear testimony from teenagers, from experts, from company insiders as well, about whether or not social media has actually harmed the mental health of youth. A lot of people have been asking that question, but a jury will have to face that question for the first time next year.